So Meghan flew solo to Geneva yesterday to give a UN speech about how social media platforms harm children. Day before her plane left on Montecito Manor, she posted her 4-year-old daughter on Instagram in the walk-in closet, helping pick the outfit. We also have the Daily Mail and Page 6 this weekend naming the A-list friends who have quietly walked away. Catherine in Italy last week getting the city's highest honor from a packed plaza, while Meghan was getting called tone deaf in the headlines for a trip to the same continent. And Harry's first cousin getting married in 3 weeks with 3 notable guests left off the list. Welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Let's get down to it. So on Sunday afternoon at a Place des Nations in Geneva, Meghan stood on a United Nations plaza next to the Director General of the World Health Organization in front of 50 illuminated lock screens of children whose lives were lost to online harm. She wore a black Armani pantsuit. She delivered a speech declaring that online safety is not a technology issue, it is a public health issue. She compared the situation to seat belts, to unsafe medicine, to poison water, and claiming that we acted then, and she say in effect, and now the world must act again. So it was a serious occasion indeed. The families standing on the plaza, including Amy Neville, whose son Alexander is one of the 50 children memorialized, did not need a duchess to tell them what they had lost. But they were there. The WHO was there. The mayor of Geneva was there. So whatever else this trip was, the families standing in front of those lockboxes are real. And the day before she flew out, Meghan posted on her own Instagram an image of her 4-year-old daughter sitting on the floor of her walk-in closet while she stood in front of the mirror in a pink monochromatic outfit with the caption, "Mama's Little Helper," with a purple heart. So think about that sequence. The trip is a speech about how algorithms and platforms harm children. The launch pad for that same trip is a post placing her 4-year-old on her own algorithmically driven platform the day before the speech as a styling caption. So yeah, the 6 years of the children's faces will not appear because exposure itself is a safeguarding risk. It gives way to Lili in the closet on the way to a UN podium about not exposing children to the very platform she just exposed her child on. Yeah, the Mail on the day called the moment breathtaking hypocrisy. The simpler way to say it, methane is the same person she was 6 years ago. The product has just changed. Well, speaking of the product, the Daily Mail ran a long piece on Saturday with a headline that landed harder than usual. The substance was, "The A-list friends who were in the pews at St. George's Chapel in 2018 have, 8 years later, quietly walked away." By name, Oprah Winfrey, Serena Williams, George and Amal Clooney, Victoria and David Beckham. Page 6 picked it up the next day. The framing was consistent across both versions of the reporting. The Clooneys are described as wanting nothing to do with the couple. Beckham's friendship with Harry, of course, has tailed off. Oprah has been long-arming the household for years, including notably not appearing on the cancelled Netflix lifestyle show and not featuring Meghan's children's book in her book club. The substance of the on-the-record commentary from the Hollywood columnist was that the worry about A-listers is commercial exploitation. I would say that there is a second worry, which is being Markle. The concern is that Meghan will use their names, likenesses, or proximity to sell jam, candles, wine, or whichever SKU is currently on the website. So the famous friends quietly stop returning calls. The blunter version in the same piece, paraphrasing, was that the people who remain loyal to the sausages tend to be people lower down the social ladder who get something out of the association. Everyone else drifts. So if the wedding guest list in 2018 was the social peak, The empty room around them now is what the peak was always going to slide into. The Beckhams, the Clooneys, Oprah, all present then, all ghost now. And speaking of solo European trips this week, Catherine, Princess of Wales, made Wednesday and Thursday she traveled to Reggio Emilia in northern Italy. It was her first solo international trip since her cancer treatment ended last year. The visit was for her own Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood, the policy work she has been building since 2021. She spent 2 days visiting a nursery school in the city, a creative resource center, and the town hall where the mayor, Marco Massari, presented her with the Primo Tricolore. That is the city's highest civic honor. The award was for her work on early childhood development. When she arrived in Piazza Trampolini on Wednesday, the plaza was full. Thousands of people, signs in the crowd in Italian, English, and a chorus of voices in the photographs saying, "Ciao, Kate!" Hold the calendar in one hand. Wednesday and Thursday, Catherine in northern Italy. Plaza full. City's highest civic honor. Children climbing on her at a nursery school in a country whose first language is not her own. And on Sunday, Meghan in Geneva. Plaza fence off. Headlines on the day characterizing her as tense, nervous, tone-deaf, and breathtakingly hypocritical in a country whose first language is not her own either. So both women went solo to Europe in the same calendar week. How about that? Both did the same nominal subject area, children, welfare, what happens to them in the world. Both got photographed in fitted designer outfits standing next to officials. One came home with a civic honor. The other, came home with the most savage headline she has had all year. But the work is the difference. Catherine has spent 5 years building one specific policy area in one specific center with one specific approach. Meghan has spent, 8 years building a marmalade jar? Okay. And one last beat for today. Peter Phillips, Princess Anne's son, Harry's first cousin, is getting married on Saturday, the 6th of June at All Saints Church in Campbell in the Cotswolds. His bride is Harriet Sperling, an NHS pediatric nurse. It is the second marriage for both. Hello Magazine confirmed the guest list situation late last week. 3 notable names have not been invited. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Sarah Ferguson, and of course, Howie. So the reason given for Andrew and Fergie is the obvious one. Their presence would distract from the day. Would distract from everything. The reason given for Howie, on the record, from a friend of the couple, was that he and Peter have not spoken for several years and have simply lost touch. As well, I guess that Harry has lost touch with reality as well. So there's that. So hold those 2 reasons side by side. Andrew off the guest list because his presence would be a distraction. Okay? The gingerbread off the guest list because the family member who used to walk into family weddings without thinking about it now has to be told through a press statement that he hasn't been included. Now, the bracket Harry now occupies inside the British royal family wedding planning conversation is the Andrew bracket. That is the 8th anniversary tier list. And by the way, that means that Harry is not going to drive attention to himself, but Andrew will. I don't know. That is in the wording. So put the week together. UN speech yesterday about platforms harming children launched on Instagram. An A-list guest list from 2018 that no longer returns the call. A working princess in Italy walking home with a civic honor, while another duchess in Switzerland walked home with the headline of her year. And a first cousin's wedding next month with Harry's name in the Andrew column. Do not call. Welcome to year 8, sausages. Let me know what you think about this in the comments, my lovely rogues. Which of these landed hardest for you? My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. Much love and bliss.